I met Turk. Shout out to Turk. And look, you ain't here, but f you. We gon' f you and we won't f you. You heard me?
Damn.
We gon' f with that bitch when we won't f.
It's a lot of moving parts with me and Wayne. And it's important to me that I fix that.
And the Hot Boys was you, Dooney, Sterling, and Mosquito.
Well, it was more than that, but everybody like started going to jail, started hanging out with other places.
But y'all see this shit, man. Y'all see what's going on. I think No Limit won. You know, that's my honest opinion. They was more organized. They was grown up about the situation.
It looks like Lil Wayne has finally stopped pretending everything's cool. After Birdman went off on Turk during that wild Cash Money versus No Limit versus Zoo's event, fans started watching Wayne's face real close, and his quiet reaction said everything. You could see it in his eyes. This hit deep, because remember, this wasn't just a label crew. These were brothers, the Hot Boys. They built each other up from the ground, sharing food, dreams, and stages before any fame came their way. For years, Wayne stood by Birdman like a loyal son, defending him through the lawsuits, the delays, the whispers about money and contracts. But this time, that silence from Wayne, it felt different, like he's not holding back out of loyalty anymore, but out of exhaustion. And honestly, who could blame him? When you look back at everything, the lawsuits, the shady deals, the public fallouts, it's hard not to feel like Birdman didn't just break friendships, he shattered a whole legacy. So today, we're digging deep into how Birdman went from the man who built the Hot Boys to the reason they'll probably never be the same again. The breaking point came at Complex Con during that highly anticipated Cash Money versus No Limit versus event on October 25th, 2025. Fans came ready for nostalgia, throwback anthems, legendary moments, maybe even a surprise reunion. But instead, Birdman grabbed the mic and turned it into chaos. Out of nowhere, he shouted, "Shout out to Turk, you a little bae, you ain't here, we gon' fuck with you when we wanna fuck with you." The crowd went silent for a full second and like time stopped. Then, social media went crazy. Fans flooded timelines, tagging Turk, pulling up old interviews, trying to piece together what sparked this outburst. Later that night, Turk went live, calm, composed, but clearly done with the disrespect. He didn't need to yell, his tone said it all.
Birdman. I understand our language, you feel me? But I got to say this for me. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. Y'all know y'all can't f with me when y'all wanna f with me. And I just wanna leave it at that, man. Like we gotta stop sending out these mixed messages to people because y'all, you know, don't do that. You know what I'm talking about? Respectfully. But it's all love though. We ain't doing no tripping over here. Big YNT, man. You know, YNT, that's what's going on over here.
Whatever bond he once had with Birdman, it's hanging by a thread, and maybe this time it finally snapped. And that line right there, "Give me my percentage," hit like a truth bomb, because this wasn't just about bruised egos or old grudges. This was about money, loyalty, and promises that never got kept. That's when fans started putting the puzzle together. If Turk's still begging for his cut after all these years, maybe Birdman's been running the same hustle on everybody. And while the internet caught fire with reactions, Lil Wayne stayed quiet, which somehow said even more. His silence wasn't confusion, it was confirmation. But to really understand how deep this runs, you gotta rewind way back, before Cash Money, before the fame, before the shiny chains. The name Hot Boys didn't start as a rap group or some record label idea. Nah, it came straight from the Magnolia Projects in New Orleans in the late 80s. And back then, it had nothing to do with music. The original Hot Boys were real street legends: Sterling, Donnie, Mosquito, and Terrence "Gangsta" Williams, Birdman's own older brother. These weren't just hustlers, they were kings of the streets, feared, respected, and untouchable. Their name carried power long before a single beat dropped. But that story, it got dark, fast. One by one, most of them were either killed or locked away. The only one who survived long enough to see a second chapter was Gangsta Williams. And when the streets went cold, Birdman flipped that same name, Hot Boys, into a brand. That move wasn't random, it was strategic.
Wayne, Drake, Nicki, the Hot Boys. Before that, the Ross and Cali, all them niggas come from under my umbrella. Every last one of them niggas. Ain't too many niggas ain't been up under my umbrella. If they say it or don't say it, all them niggas come from me.
Birdman took something that started in blood and concrete and turned it into a music empire. But that legacy, It was a double-edged sword, because when you borrow power from the streets, that energy follows you, both the good and the bad. By the mid-1990s, Birdman and his brother Slim had officially transformed Cash Money Records into a label, and to make it pop, they needed a crew that repped New Orleans with the same fire the original Hot Boys had. That's when Destiny brought together Lil Wayne, Juvenile, Turk, and BG, the new age Hot Boys. They had the look, the hunger, the attitude. They were young, raw, and ready to dominate. Birdman saw dollar signs and went all in. He marketed them like legends before they even had a platinum record. Soon the new Hot Boys were everywhere, on mixtapes, music videos, and packed stages, dripping in jewelry and luxury, shouting their loyalty to Baby like a code of honor, and it worked. Albums like Get It How You Live and Guerrilla Warfare turned the group into Southern royalty. Cash Money wasn't just a label anymore, it was a movement, but behind that shine, there were cracks forming that no one wanted to see yet. They became superstars, but that loyalty came with a heavy price tag. Birdman made sure he controlled everything, contracts, royalties, publishing, all of it flowed through him. He didn't just build the dream, he owned it, and the rest of them were just living inside it. At first, nobody dared to question it. Birdman was the boss, the father figure, the provider, the man who turned the streets into success. But when the checks started rolling in and the math stopped making sense, the cracks began to show and the empire started trembling, Juvenile was the first to walk away, openly complaining about missing payments. Then BG followed, calling Birdman a crook in interviews. Turk ended up behind bars, but when he finally got out, he realized the fortune he thought was waiting for him, gone, vanished into thin air. Through all that chaos, Lil Wayne stayed loyal. He defended Birdman in interviews, called him Pops, and refused to speak bad on his name. But deep down, Wayne wasn't blind, he was watching. And slowly, he started realizing the truth. Birdman wasn't just the CEO, he was the gatekeeper. The moment you questioned him, your career went cold. He could freeze your whole momentum like it never existed. And even though Wayne was the youngest in the crew, he wasn't naive. He was calculating. He saw what happened to everyone else and started plotting his own quiet escape plan. And when he finally made his move, it didn't just shake the label, it shook hip-hop to its core. By 2015, Wayne had enough. He filed a massive $51 million lawsuit against Birdman and Cash Money Records.
At the time, it was impossible to have any type of genuine or real feelings. I was on stage, I was in performance mode. I was trying to think about the words for the next song, honestly. So I was just trying to make sure he didn't say it at a time where it was my verse and I messed up a line or something.
In court papers, he claimed he was owed an $8 million advance, plus another $2 million upon completing Thaw Carter 5. And on top of that, Birdman allegedly kept profits from Young Money Entertainment, Wayne's own label that he built from the ground up. Basically, Wayne was doing the work while Birdman was cashing the checks. Of course, Birdman denied everything. He swore he never held Wayne's music hostage or shorted him a dime, but the proof was in the music delays. The Carter 5 kept getting pushed back year after year. Behind the scenes, Wayne was furious. This wasn't just business, this was betrayal from someone he once called family. By 2018, they finally reached a settlement rumored to be worth over $10 million, though Birdman later went on camera claiming he gave Wayne $400 to $500 million.
Let's say I gave Wayne about $400 to $500 million. Drake got about $500 million, and Nicki got about $300-400 million out my pocket, no cap.
A story that nobody believed. The numbers didn't add up, the timeline didn't match, and the fans weren't buying it. And so when the two were later seen hugging it out for the cameras, smiling like old times, everyone knew the truth. That piece was just for show. The love might have been real once, but the trust was gone forever.
How you, man?
What's up, Moolah?
I'm Booling. How you, good?
You already know. Bro.
Yeah, man. How Lil B? How Priya?
Man, Brian good, man. He graduated from college, man.
I know, man.
Got his own little spot, you heard me?
Man, what, man?
We'll graduate next year, bro. You hear me? You
man.
know, y'all.
Now, to be fair, Birdman has tried to defend himself, at least publicly. For years, he's claimed everyone got paid and that people just don't understand how the business works. He even bragged about giving Wayne hundreds of millions from Universal's distribution deals. But every time he throws out those numbers, the math never adds up, and the receipts always tell a different story. What makes it worse is how he moves. Birdman's out here flexing private jets, diamond watches, and million-dollar gifts, living like hip-hop royalty, while most of his former artists are still waiting for their proper royalties or trying to rebuild from scratch. And that's what cuts the deepest, because the man who preached loyalty and family built an empire off those very words. But when the money started talking, that family disappeared overnight. And just when things finally started to quiet down, boom, here comes Terrence Gangsta Williams in 2022, Birdman's older brother, the original Hot Boy. After serving over 23 years in prison, he got released, and the whole city went wild. Even Birdman looked caught off guard. Gangsta started doing interviews, pulling the curtain back on the truth, talking about the real Hot Boys, the street legends, and what really went down in the early days of Cash Money. And what he said, it basically confirmed everything fans had been whispering for years.
Well, the Hot Boys, the actual street crew.
Okay.
What year did that come together?
1994, we all started hanging together, but we knew each other from, like, me and Mosquito. We kind of grew up together.
And the Hot Boys was you, Dooney, Sterling, and Mosquito.
Well, it was more than that, but everybody like started going to jail, started hanging out other places.
Birdman took the Hot Boys name, their street rep, their story, and flipped it into a brand. He used their image to build his label from the ground up, but never gave them proper credit. Then when people asked Birdman about his brother's release, he acted like Gangsta didn't even exist. That silence spoke volumes. It showed the world that in Birdman's world, loyalty only flows one way, toward him. Now, almost 30 years later, the legacy of the Hot Boys is still hanging in limbo. BG just got out of prison. Juvenile still tears up stages solo. Turk keeps doing interviews calling out Birdman and Wayne. He's too rich and too scarred to ever look back. Fans keep begging for a reunion, but let's be real, those wounds are too deep. Birdman might have built the brand, but he also broke the bond. The Hot Boys weren't just a rap group, they were a brotherhood born from struggle, loyalty, and survival. But when money and ego got in the mix, everything fell apart. And now that Birdman's back online throwing disses and flexing like it's 2005, it's clear this story is far from over. Because every time Wayne goes silent, every time Turk speaks up, and every time Birdman brags about his riches, we're reminded of one painful truth. Behind the hits, the money, and the fame was a family that never healed. So now the real question is, if Birdman still owes them millions, what else does he owe them that money can't buy? Make sure to hit like, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more deep dives like this. And trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. See you in the next one.